I was researching another exhibition and I came upon the Slavery Bible, which is an edited version of the King James Bible that was used to teach slaves how to read. I was shocked. I was brought up a Methodist and I didn't understand how I didn't know about this. And when I asked people about it, most people I asked didn't know about it. And it was such a profound act of manipulation that I wanted to explore that element of the industry that we sometimes call the slave trade.
My parents are from the West Indies, so there is a connection with the exhibition in some senses because of the slave Bible.
I think the Bible was the most, striking to me.
Yeah, I think the map and the slave Bible are pretty horrific and pretty notable, because I think we have this tendency to assume maps and books and Bibles as being these very legitimate, neutral, in a sense, objects, and we don't consider the ways they can be manipulated or exploited.
Content of the exhibition, well, it started with the Slavery Bible. So there are 6 artists who responded to 6 items, all from the Bodleian's collections. And those artists basically came, they explored them, they looked at what they meant, and they created a piece of artwork in response to them. So not only did 6 artists respond to the 6 shortlisted items from the collection, but another artist responded to the whole exhibition.
The first piece that struck me immediately, I think, is big, it's dramatic, but it doesn't pull its punches in terms of the language that it's using and what it's exploring and how it takes the etymology of a term and demonstrates the colonial history of the creation of that word, and the kind of how deeply connected science and medicine were with this colonial project.
I have to say the map. So where the map is colour-coded.
Trying to show groups of people that are civilized and savaged and enlightened and so on, with all of Western Europe being enlightened and much of Africa being savage.
It evoked a lot of emotion in me, if I'm honest, a bit of anger there, but at the same time I had the anger, but I felt a feeling of I'm glad that this is displayed there for all to see.
In particular, I'd look at the letter to Codrington from one of the managers of his plantation,
who had relations with one of the slave women, and he had 4 children. He had purchased a number of children and then wanted to buy the woman that he had relations with and one of the remaining child.
Now, what this letter shows us, the notion that somebody who is an indentured slave still feels a level of superiority that they are going to ask to own a slave while writing a letter that positions them as a victim.
It conveyed that sense of property again, someone can be purchased and abused, and that seems very normal to him. And I think it also it speaks to me about the idea that women, abused women particularly, and children have very little voice at that time.
Don't teach me no nonsense. What did my people accomplish?
It's such a strange sight after seeing those processions in London, to see this procession down.
The Jubilee was, of course, a giant moment for the royal family and how people in Britain could relate to that. But it confronts today's idea with what it means to be a part of this country and puts it back onto history. When you are in this society, you have a connection to the past, and I think it's important to be confronted with both of those in one moment.
To see that the university, the Bodleian Libraries, are engaging, seeking other voices from outside of academia that are no less rigorous than academic voices, no less valued than researchers within the institutional, because the more voices we have on these privileged collections, exclusive they're exclusive collections, really. I mean, reducing that exclusivity is an important part of what we're doing. I think we should be doing. I think.
I found it really surprising actually coming into Weston Library to find an exhibition like this right at the entrance. But I think it's about time that these conversations are happening, and it's about time that we're honest about the past.
In coming here this morning, I thought, what other artefacts, what other books, what other pieces of information are locked behind closed doors that the general public doesn't see and perhaps would appreciate seeing? And how might that change the narrative?
It's good that, like, especially when children come, it's good to see that, okay, this is actually what happened, even if, like, you know, it's not taught at school.
I think it does matter to an extreme extent about opening conversations about colonization, about Britishness, about what it means to be British in this time period, or even just I'm an American, even just understanding my own history.
So that's what this exhibition is about. It's about exploring those ways in which we have manipulated the thinking of others to keep things like slavery and empire in place. And we don't often talk about this. We talk about the shackles, we talk about the beatings, but we don't talk about the manipulation that kept these things going, both slavery and empire.
It's here for a limited amount of time and then it'll go away again. So it makes us think about this thing for a set period and then we can get on with our lives again. And I feel like actually that tends to be the way people deal with EDI, anti-racism. It's on the table when it's on the table because it's currently the focus of the public, or it's currently the focus because we've got a review coming up. It needs to be on the table all the time, and because it then leads on to understanding where the institution, the university as an institution, the college system, where they're upholding these structural inequalities and where they need to do more work.